Good morning, everybody. Are you guys ready to go on Shark Tank now?
No.
Some no, some yes, some no.
I want to say something.
So I'm Pat. I was the shorter guy in the video. My buddy Matt is in San Francisco, though he comes to Westfield once a month. He stays with my wife and I and our family. That was 10 years ago that we went on Shark Tank. So quite a lot of time has passed. Back then when we were on there, they actually showed a clip in the very beginning. We were living in my grandma's apartment in San Francisco. She had pink carpet, not a glamorous office, and skipping over a lot of stuff that's happened. Today, we have a 26,000 square foot manufacturing facility here in Westfield. So the company has changed a lot in the last 10 years. Actually, it's been 13 years in business, but we love Westfield. We're happy to call it home. I moved here 3 years ago. Indiana is awesome. And hopefully today you learned a little something about pitching a business and what people actually will ask you when you're trying to get them to invest their time and their money. Because when that happens, people stop being nice and they start getting serious. And so what I'd love to do today is just answer any questions you guys might have about, guys and girls might have about Shark Tank, about products, about Grinds, the company in general, and maybe if there's time, test a couple of you on your current pitches. So that sounds okay? Sounds good? Who's got the first question?
How old are you? How old do you need to be able to have grinds?
Grinds. So we did not bring samples for you all today. I have brought products before for high school kids and whatnot. So it's just coffee and caffeine. There's nothing harmful in there. I think it's the same age you would need to be to buy, I don't know if you can or not, a can of Red Bull, or if you go to Starbucks. I think it's 13 years old. Someone mentioned that. Did someone know that answer? Yeah.
I know it was going to be 13.
But we don't market ourselves to anyone 18 or younger, 17 or younger. So yes.
Were you nervous whenever you
Do you think I was nervous?
Yeah.
We were extremely nervous. In fact, I told what actually happens there. You know how we walked out of the hall? You actually have to walk into that. It's a fake room back there. So you're waiting off to the side while they're getting everything ready, and you're just, everything's going through your head. You just remember your pitch, And when we actually came out, you walk out, and you're actually in, who's been to the Grand Park football facility?
Everyone has, like every day.
Great, okay. So imagine one of those football fields cut in half. That is the size of the room you're in when we're pitching. It's gigantic. You walk out, there's 3 walls, and then one wall is completely blank, where all the people with the cameras and the directors are. And when you get there, you have to walk out, you stand on a spot, you can't smile, you look straight ahead for 30 seconds. That was the hardest part of the whole thing. Because your heart's racing, and then someone from the darkness yells, "Go!" And then you just say your pitch. So, in the back. I'll come back here.
How old do you have to be to even pitch a Shark Tank thing?
That's a good question. So I have seen a girl that I believe was 7 or 8 years old pitch. I think it's called, I'm going to get the name wrong. It's either Sweet Bees Lemonade or something like that. You can look it up on Google or find it. But she went on with a parent. I think you'll need a guardian with you. But I've seen 7 or 8 years old. And she got a deal, too. So yeah, question.
Why is the name called Shark Tank if there aren't any sharks involved?
That's what I was.
No, that's why. Well, so, okay, who knows what a metaphor is? Who can explain what a metaphor is?
You're kind of exaggerating.
Yeah, so it's not really any sharks, but they try to make the people that were, Mr. Wonderful and all them, appear like sharks in the water because they're intimidating.
Yeah.
And weird and try, yeah. So that's why they call it the Shark
I don't
Tank.
want to call it Shark Tank.
Yes.
How much money are you talking
Yeah. The question was how much. Actually, ask your question again.
How much money have you put into the company, and how much money have you made from it?
Yeah. So great questions. Maybe you have a future in accounting. So by the time we went on Shark Tank, I'll talk about maybe sales and how much investment we took. We had only had at that point I think $15,000, $30,000 put into the company. Half of that was from winning the competition for free pizza. We won that in college. That's a true story. So if you have an idea and you see a sign for free pizza, walk in. Like, you guys can do it.
Wait, so you got free pizza and $30,000.
And 15, yeah. We had to pitch our business, yeah, but that was the whole deal. We didn't put any money in. After that, we raised another $75,000. And that actually, we have never taken another investment in that entire time. And back then we sold maybe 30,000 cans, and last year we sold over 3 million cans. So quite a bit, yeah. Great face back there, the red sweatshirt, love it. Sure, question in the back. Yeah.
Like what kind of pizza was it? That's just all.
What kind of pizza?
Yes.
To be honest, I don't even remember. We sat in the back, and this is a good lesson. So my only piece of advice, if you take nothing else away from me, is that if you have an idea, do something about it. Just do something about it. The only reason Grinds exists today, most likely, is because we walked in for free pizza. We walked in, probably a room like this. We sat in the back. We had some free pizza. You had to fill out a piece of paper about your idea. And now I think it was cheese, pepperoni? What do you? But we filled out the questionnaire, and they just went around the room. There were teams in that room. Someone was doing electric motors for Ferraris. Someone had already raised $250,000, and we're in the back going, we're gonna put a coffee in a pouch. We're not really sure how to do it. We're gonna just take our pizza and go. And that right then they're like, oh, we could see this working. You guys are, you're entered into the competition. So if you have an idea is not worth anything unless you do something about it. So take action. All of you can do it. I was no different than anybody in this class when I was in the 6th grade. Yeah, in 6th grade. So I was much shorter than I was now, skinnier. So you can do it.
To the 5th graders, they'd be like down here.
Well, there you go. I'll come back to your question. Did I take your question already? Your first one? Yeah, I did. Yeah, okay. Sure.
Okay, so out of any place you guys could have chose to make a factory, why would you choose the boring fart nugget that's called Indiana?
Well, hilarious. Okay, so skipping over some connotations about Indiana there. The reasons were actually related to the business. So you might think Indiana, Midwest, not as exciting as, say, I don't know, where else would you guys move
Las
the business?
Vegas, Texas.
Las Vegas, Texas. So we were in California. We were in San Francisco. San Francisco was the most at the time, the most expensive place to live in the country. So, yeah, and probably it's up there still, yeah. So we knew we wanted to move out of San Francisco. We knew we were going to start manufacturing. Once we knew we were going to leave California, we literally took out a map and started to put pins in it, probably like 8 or 9 or 10. Where could you go? Indianapolis was on there, but we didn't want to go.
Wow.
We were like, we'll put it on there. It makes sense. We'll see what happens. We had Chicago. Someone said Texas. We had Austin, Texas. North Carolina. I can't remember the others. And slowly but surely, as we started looking at these places, Indianapolis kept rising up the list. It was in a great location. It's not quite the center of the country, but it's really close, so we could get our products everywhere. Who knows what distribution is?
I do.
Good enough. Someone tell us what distribution is of your products. Go ahead.
It's kind of like distributing it across like the country or like wherever you're trying to sell it.
Yeah, it's basically getting it out into stores, online, even Amazon is distribution, just getting your product there. Indianapolis or Indiana is really centrally located. We can get, if we send packages online, they get to the East Coast in 2 days, they get to the West Coast in 2 days. So that made a lot of sense. Another reason that's not business related, my wife liked it here. So she liked the neighborhood. We're actually over in Zionsville. The building in Westfield was brand new, so it was nice. And we found good people in Indiana who wanted to join the company. So it was a great location, much more affordable in San Francisco, nice place to live, and we found good people who work there. Like, and his dad, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
There we go. Someone said hi. Yeah. Sean's on our sales team. He helps us get distribution. So, okay, Detroit, Jersey. Yeah.
Is your guys' product on Amazon?
It is on Amazon.
Oh,
You can find it. Let's see. Who have I? Go ahead. Yeah, so the question was, how many locations do we have producing it? So half of our production is still made in Europe. in Denmark. And yeah, so it all started there, and we moved here to bring all of it to the U.S. and to Indiana. So half is made, the other half is made at Westfield. Literally, if you guys know where the Starbucks is, I'll turn it around actually. Yeah, we're right below the Starbucks. Brand new facility. Maybe we can set up tours. Talk to Sean about that. We'll see what we can do. So just those two places, and we're trying to make it all right here. So. No, there's machines. These giant machines make these tiny little pouches. I could probably send a video maybe as the right shape, the right size. It's actually much more complicated than you would think. Question over here. We do. So the question was, do we have any other flavors? Has anyone ever seen grinds before today?
No.
Anna has. Yeah. A couple people. Okay. So that's great. I'm happy to hear that. So we have a bunch of flavors. There's 14. One of the reasons we moved here is because we can do product development and R&D. Who knows what R&D stands for?
No. I don't want to know.
Anyone want to guess? Research and development. There you go. So if you come over to our office, you'll see us messing around. Who's seen Willy Wonka, the Chocolate Factory? So we got a little lab that's kind of like that, where we mess around with stuff we're putting in there, make it taste like blueberry and whatever you want to put in there. But we have 14 flavors today. Yeah, some natural, some artificial. Yeah.
What do you think is your most bought flavor?
I can tell you that. So,
Most popular flavor.
Oh.
as your business, so when you have an idea at first, you guys idea, correct? Yeah. At that point, the most important thing you can do is what I started with. Do something. Make a sample, get someone to try it, just see if anybody even likes it. Today, 10 years later, as you grow, it becomes very important to track a bunch of data. Who knows what data is?
Me.
Okay, everyone knows what data is. So you track a bunch of information. What products are selling well, what products aren't selling so much. We have a process where the ones that are selling the most, we promote more, we put in more stores, more distribution, and here on the bottom, boom, you get cut. So we'll let stuff just go out of stock and discontinue. Yeah, the lowest statistics. Yeah, get either put on the shelf for a while or we get rid of them completely actually. Let's see, who hasn't, yeah, right here.
Okay, two questions.
Yeah.
Was your business pretty successful before you went to Shark Tank?
That is a good question. So, yes and no. So, it was in the sense that we had a product, we got it made. Getting the product made was still today the hardest thing I've ever done. Getting the samples of coffee in a pouch, as silly as that sounds, it didn't exist in the world. So we had to go to Denmark to make it. That was the hardest thing. So in that sense, that was already a big win. When someone gave us $15,000 for free pizza, that was a big win. And then I think beyond, I mean, we got some cool people from Major League Baseball using the product. Today we're in all 30 teams' locker rooms. That was a big win. And then just before Shark Tank, we actually started getting some sales going. So I mentioned my grandma's apartment. We lived in that apartment and we painted a bunch of other apartment buildings to make money. I think the year before Shark Tank, we were able to stop doing that and we had full-time jobs. So that was a success too. But today it's gone above and beyond that. So your second question.
And so if your business was pretty successful, why did you have to go to Shark Tank at all?
Good question. So what I would say is the business was successful. And at that time it was just me, the other guy, Matt. I think we had one other guy, a good buddy of ours, who was like customer service and filling orders. Actually, let me ask, why do you think we went to Shark Tank?
For more money.
For money, that's one reason, but money to do what?
You need to promote it.
Promote it, there's the answer. Can you say it louder? We wanted to grow the company. So we needed the money, a lot of people said the money, but we also just needed the recognition. That show was on TV, people were talking about it. So we wanted to grow it even bigger. And today we're happy with where we're at, very thankful and appreciative, but we want to keep going on it and bring all that production here. So, okay, who has not asked a question? In the back, all the way in the back.
So how long did it take you to give the money back to the Shark Tank people?
Ooh, great question. So, here's what happened after. I'll go do some background. So we filmed all this right when we walked off the stage, right? Because it's in a big sound stage, like I mentioned. You get right. Well, first you talk to a psychologist. True story. They say, "Do you know what just happened?" So that's a true story. Then you get in a van and you go directly to the airport and you leave. You're not allowed to tell anybody you went on Shark Tank, you signed contracts. You have to wait until it actually goes to TV, because sometimes you do this and you don't go on TV. So we had to wait 6 months to even really follow up and talk to the sharks. In the meantime, we were, if it goes on TV, we'll set up a meeting here and you guys can work with these guys. So by the time it actually aired, we had not signed a deal with them. It went to air, went on TV, sales exploded, like we sold out in 3 days, and we sold out again 6 weeks later. And they set up meetings with Walgreens and some other distributors. But as things went on, Grimes was making more money, we had more sales. They wanted to reduce their investment, meaning they didn't want to put in as much money, and they wanted to raise the equity, the amount they were going to take. And as more time passed, we realized that we probably weren't going to take the investment. So a year later, we walked away from working with the sharks. Yeah, so things happen after you go on the show. And about half the deals actually don't go through.
You just left them. You just ditched them.
It was pretty kind of
strategic.
Yeah. Who hasn't asked the question?
It was a good move.
Hey, hang on. Question. Yeah, go ahead. Good question. So how long were we actually on there? Does anyone want to guess?
How many takes 3 hours?
5 hours. 5 hours.
Well, so the video saw was 10 minutes. So what's the longest you think we were out there? Someone said 2 hours.
Hour to 2 hours.
I'll say hour to 2 hours. What's the shortest someone thinks?
30 minutes.
30 minutes? So we were on there for an hour and a half.
Oh, I was a little.
And they shortened it down. And someone asked if we were nervous. We were very, very, very nervous until the person yelled go. And then we kind of blinked and it was over. And then we were exhausted. But it was an hour and a half that we were out there, so it's a long time.
But the sharks are actually sitting in front of
They're sitting in front. It was an hour and a half. The woman before us was selling brownies. Her pitch was very bad, and maybe, I don't know, we're probably gonna run out of time, but I could tell you why it was a bad pitch. She didn't highlight a problem. She didn't have any numbers about her costs. Her pitch was over in 5 minutes. So she went, everybody was out, and she left. When you don't get a deal done, sometimes it's that quick. But when you do, all the parts they cut out of there are kind of similar to the questions you guys are asking. What's your distribution? Where's the product sold? All that's not good for TV. That was the longest part of it. So.
Wait, they cut stuff out?
Oh yeah.
because they have to
Well,
figure out the
that was
show.
how long was that video? 10 minutes? They were filming for an hour and 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So they always capture your face when you look surprised. Okay, who has question in the back? Ooh, that's a great question. So, the way it went on the show, I actually wouldn't change anything we did then, because we set a goal. We said we're willing to give up this much of the company for this much money, just based on, and if we get that, we'll take a deal. So that happened. In hindsight now, looking back, I probably would have seen if I could have gotten Mark Cuban back in, because what happens is afterwards, each one of the sharks basically connects you with all of their people. They actually don't do that much with you. They say, hey, you're going to talk to this person and that person and this person. And during the filming, no one saw it. Mark Cuban was going through pouches like crazy. He had 6 pouches. He took our shirt off the mannequin. He actually later was he wears it on Twitter sometimes. So I actually would have tried to just keep him involved, because even though we didn't do a deal with Damon and John, we still had a bunch of connections that came from working with him. And if I was going to go on today, if let's say one of you has an idea and you actually end up there, I can also kind of sort of help with that if you have a good idea. The biggest advice we got was make a deal. Because I mentioned that not all of them go on TV. Most people don't get a deal done on the show. And we got great advice from someone who went on. This goes back to hey, make sure you do something about it. We wanted to come away working with the sharks. So we made sure our valuation wasn't too high. We wanted to get a deal done. So Not a lot I would change, actually, going back now. Okay, who hasn't asked a question? I think you guys have all asked questions, so we can go back around. Yeah, go ahead. How are we on time? We're going to be wrapping up here? Okay.
How do you deal with like sales tax? Like, say buying the product, like buying what you need
Sales
for the
tax
product, but like making less than you actually.
So I'm going to summarize that in a different way. Kind of, I think I know the spirit of your question. Like, how do you deal with taxes and costs? And it comes down to, so if my number one piece of advice for everybody was do something about it, like why not any of you? Why couldn't any of you go on Shark Tank? There's no reason why not. You just need to actually try. So that's number one advice. Number two, maybe a little less exciting, is focus in your math classes. Because you need to know basic math. You need to know basic math. And those are the two pieces of advice I would say if you want to start a business. Got to try and actually do something, have some energy and some enthusiasm, and you do need to know some math. So, yeah, question. This is the last question maybe, or we got question? The question was, do we have any ideas before grind?
Class 2, class 3.
Do we have any ideas before grinds? Kind of, but really grinds was the first idea that me and Matt, my good buddy and now business partner, had. That we actually said, whoa, yeah, we should do something about this. Since grinds, I've had many ideas. So the key though is that once, again, my advice, do something. So if you have an idea or you want to learn guitar or whatever it is, actually go do it. Learn by doing is kind of the mantra. Once you do it once, you learn, okay, these are the mistakes I made, I shouldn't do that. Oh, I bet this would work even better. Like, we're working on other stuff that you can put in a little tiny pouch, you know, that could maybe help you sleep at night or give you more energy without caffeine. So the ideas kind of keep coming and you realize what you can and can't do. So he's like itching for one more question. So last question.
Okay, what were any bumps or accidents in the factory or career that you're allowed to explain to the public?
That's it, yeah. Yeah, so honestly what I will tell you is that there are bumps all the time. Like every day. I'm sure I could go tell you about something that happened in the facility today. And I can remember getting a shipment of product. Here's the one I'll share. From Denmark. It was all the money we had left in the bank account. We paid for this production run. It showed up and the mint chocolate cans had mocha inside of them. And the mocha cans had mint chocolate. So all the product was worthless. We couldn't sell it. We had no more money. How are you going to figure it out? And so what do? You just kind of get a whiteboard out and you figure, okay, what are our options? We came up with a solution, but you're going to have bumps and bruises all the time. Just make sure, well, how should I say this? They're not fatal. Just make sure you don't make any decisions that you can't come back from and reverse from. So
Losing your hand.
it's complicated because there's rules about food.
Boys and girls.
So,
Go ahead.
I just have one question. So, did you, like, you guys walked into the Shark Tank like, hey, this is our bottom line, we won't agree if they don't.
yeah, basically we set a limit.
Okay.
And we got really good advice from people that went on season 1. They're like, try and get a deal if you're serious. If you can do it.
Yeah.
Some companies can't because they already gave away too much of their equity with. And then know your ceiling. And so.
Did you have to like discuss with each other, or were you like
So
did they cut that out?
Yeah,
or?
we did meet in the back.
Okay.
Like, and that doesn't get on TV. We called a timeout, and they made the music play and stuff. But we basically walked out. And we're like, we'll definitely do the new set.
Got it.
Full time, and then some.
Why didn't you guys take the guy who was offering you $100,000?
The quarter?
Yeah.
Because remember I said we ran out of money.
Yeah.
When he puts his money in, he actually starts taking money out right away. Like we sell a candy, gets a quarter. And in the beginning, we needed they even talked about it, we needed every penny. So that was a deal we knew before. We aren't going to do a royalty deal. So are we? Yeah.
Clever mind trick, though.
Take what you just learned, go do something with your Shark Tank pitch. If you guys want, I probably can't do it for everybody, but if anybody wants to have me review a Shark Tank pitch, I'll leave maybe my email address. I found it, and guess what? I found that most people don't email me. So, number one piece of advice, can anyone tell me what my piece of advice was?
No. If you have an idea, try it.
Do something.
Do something.
I dare somebody to send me an email and have me look at your Shark Tank.
Alright,
And then Thanks for having me.